And joining me now is Dr. Bharat Pankania, Senior Clinical Lecturer at the University of Exeter. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Good evening.
First of all, tell us how concerning is this resurgence in COVID cases in China?
It is, of course, very concerning, and it was inevitable. And the reason why I say it was inevitable is whilst China did a really good job of test, trace, contain before the vaccines were invented and deployed, thereafter, China could learn from the West and from the United States that the good use of good quality vaccines saves the day. So it was inevitable for China because the uptake of vaccines amongst the vulnerable groups in China has not been so good. And the second point is that the vaccines, the Sinopharm platform of vaccines that China has been using are not as good as the mRNA platform of vaccines. So it was a perfect storm waiting for China to happen, and it's happening now, which is it has a vulnerable population, not fully immunized and not immunized by what I would call better quality vaccines.
Do you expect a resurgence in other parts of the world?
No, I don't. And my reasons are other parts of the world, especially Europe, United States, those sort of parts of the world, have been deploying the mRNA platform of vaccines. So they've either got the immunity via infection or immunity via immunization, and they are in a better position. But you never know, because a sudden mutation could arise and set us back altogether. But I remain optimistic that because we've got a substantially immunized population in Europe and Americas, no. Africa, I still remain concerned because Africa doesn't have a substantially immunized population.
I want to ask you, how has the understanding of COVID-19 changed since the pandemic first broke out?
Oh, it has changed it dramatically because, we had world leaders complain that we were only preparing for influenza. And then suddenly SARS virus arrives and we were caught short. Not true. They should have been thinking about an unusual virus. And now that we've had this huge, expensive experience, I feel we've learned many, many lessons. And we've also got pharmaceutical companies who invented beautiful, amazing mRNA vaccines, which will be used in other pandemics, I bet you. So, for example, only yesterday there was news out that they're working on an mRNA type platform of vaccines for seasonal influenza. That is a wonderful outcome.
In your opinion, do you believe China's zero COVID policy approach to be effective? With widespread anger mounting, it would appear that not many locals do.
I totally agree that it is now not a good strategy because we've got good quality vaccines that China could use. Unfortunately, China has gone down that alleyway from which it can't extricate itself, which is it hasn't got an immunized population. It is using a bank of Sinopharm vaccines, which are not as good as the mRNA vaccines. Because if they were to change course and start using the better platform of vaccines, it could loosen up its tight control of zero COVID. So it only insists on zero COVID because it has no other alternatives. It has alternatives if it were to change course, which is use a better platform of vaccines.
All right, Dr. Bharat Pankania, Senior Clinical Lecturer at the University of Exeter. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.